Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So we're going to be working on this Operation Write Home sketch, which is number 217. And I have it here. You can pause, that way you can write down all the measurements, and then if you like, follow along. So basically what I decided to do was, instead of using the banner for a sentiment, I decided to use actually the longer part that is, I want to say I think it's 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. That sheet I cut out of white, and all I'm doing here is stamping thanks so much on both of my white sheets for the 2 cards we're going to be making. And I love the Misty because it allows me to stamp it twice, so that way I can make sure that my color is nice and crisp. So while I have it out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the inside of the card. I don't always do the insides, but the sentiment stamp set from Penny Black that I got also had inside parts, so it was like a perfect quote to go with the thanks so much. So I'm stamping it twice as well, and then we're going to stamp our second card's insert. And since I lined it up at the same spot, all I have to do is put the paper in and stamp it twice, just like we did the first one. And normally when I use the VersaFine, I do the clear embossing, but on this particular card I decided that I didn't want to. On the banner sheet, I have a little trick that I tried to, how's the word to explain it, to try to implement to get this to line up. So I made it even on the bottom edge, and I made my slit mark. And the idea would be then that when I make my banner piece, it would line up because I did the same amount up. Well, it didn't work out quite the way. In my mind, it worked so much better. So on this particular one, you can see here I'm trying to like cut the edges, make it even, try and get it to line up, and I'm not 100% feeling it, but I'm like, okay, let me keep going because I'm making the video. And the first one I did, which is off to the side, it kind of worked, so I was just gonna keep going and go with it. So on this particular card, I'm keeping everything flat to show you that you can do it either way, because on the second card we are going to use some foam adhesive dimensionals. And so I'm laying down all my cards, and right here I didn't realize it, but my thumb actually hit the sentiment and I wind up making a little smudge. So once I get it attached, I do take my mono eraser and I use it right here to clear off that little smudge that I got. And we're just taping up the backside and attaching this to the card front. And then right here, when I go to attach the banners, when I realize, you know, I'm really not feeling it and it's off by a lot. So I paused the video and created a whole nother one. This time I tried to use the trimmer in order to get everything even and across. And it worked up to a point, and it was good enough that I was willing to keep it and keep it moving. I think the next time if I were to do it, I just wouldn't put a border. I normally don't when I do banners, only because I see other people are able to do it and get a nice banner around it, but I haven't mastered that technique yet. And until I do, I'd rather just not have the border, and then that way I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so we're just attaching our sentiment for the inside. And then we're going to do the same thing with our second card. Now keep in mind, on this one, the only thing I'm changing different is popping up certain layers. So the main card base, I'm just attaching with the tape runner. And make sure, if you know, once you cut your papers, if there's little bits hanging on the edge, just take your nail file and straighten it up. And then all this part is going to be pretty much, you know, similar to what we did before. Attaching the sentiment, making sure everything's even. And then instead of using the tape, we're going to use some foam. I'm just going to, I use this one because it's thinner, so it doesn't pop up really high. I didn't want too much dimension because the idea would be if you're trying to mail this out, you don't want it to cost you an arm and a leg. So then I attached the banner decorative piece with the tape, but I put it on the card front using the foam tape. And I'm just trying to really quick straighten up all my lines so that way it's as neat as possible. And we're going to attach the foam pieces to this. And then once the backings are all off, we're going to get this attached to the front of the card. And then do the same thing for this one on the inside. And I don't always show on camera what I do as far as my insides. Sometimes I'll leave them blank. Sometimes I do put sentiments already in there, so that way all you have to do is sign it. That's the idea. So, you know, I just, every once in a while, I like to share that with you guys. And then to complete each card, I'm grabbing 2 of the Nuvo drops. On the one on the right hand side, we're going to be using the Autumn Red. And on the one with the apples, we're going to be using the Dark Walnut. And on the Dark Walnut one, I think I wind up going a little bit on a diagonal, but it's alright. I'm not too worried about it. So there's our final products. And they're pretty simple. This is definitely something, if you wanted to mass produce, you could. And like I said, you know, if you cut out any of the bits where I had a little bit of a struggle with the banner piece, you can just attach the flag, you know, of the pattern paper straight to the card front. And I think it would still turn out just as well. Alright, so thank you guys for joining me today. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And at the very end, of course, like always, I will have links to previous card sketch videos. And if you're not already a subscriber, you can click on my photo and then click the bell right there next to it, so that way you're alerted whenever I upload a video. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day.